So hello everyone, welcome to this video that we're doing today with Angela. Now we normally do these live on the various channels, but unfortunately we've had a few technical issues this morning. So we've moved it to Zoom and we're going to record this and put it out on the various platforms. Now one thing we say normally what we do is encourage live questions during it, which obviously we can't do. But if anyone wants to type in questions on wherever they see this, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn, please do. I'm sure Angela will be happy to answer them afterwards. Is that right, Angela?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So, so right now, I think a lot of businesses are kind of reconsidering what they're doing and thinking about their strategy and such like. And a big part of this is content, isn't it? And it's a big part of this social media, website, and various other materials. And videos like this is obviously a big part of it. But another big area is photography. So obviously, we've very briefly heard from Angela. Angela's from Vue Photographique. Have I said that right, Angela?
Perfect. Excellent.
And Angela's very much an expert in that area. So, so I won't steal your thunder, Angela. I'll hand it over to you just to kind of introduce yourself, explain who you are, what you do, that type of stuff, and then we'll get into a few questions if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm Angela from Vue Photographique, and it's a photography business that I run with my husband Daniel. Daniel is the creative genius behind our business. He's the photographer, and I support him with all things business development and connecting with our clients really and developing those relationships. We set up a couple of years ago. And the reason why we set up was because we started a family and we wanted to build a business to give us more flexibility in our life to look after our children, because now we've got two. And really as well to really make use of Daniel's amazing creative talents, because he's just really talented in anything to do with not just photography, but anything that's creative, art, graphic design. So, you know, it's like a lost talent if we didn't do something. So we decided to set up a photography business, originally setting up in weddings and things because it's easy access.
Yep.
But then we discovered networking, BNI, and then last year, obviously, we discovered Northern Affinity, which has been great. And that's really given us ability to get in front of businesses. So we've adapted our business for well over a year now, and we specialise in photography for businesses across 3 separate areas. So headshots and branding, we do corporate events photography, and then we're building our property and interior photography portfolio and client base. So that's us.
Yeah. Fantastic, Angela. And now, obviously, I know a little bit about you guys and your business, and I know one of the things that you do, and you've kind of touched on it there, was you very much play to your strengths, you two. And Dan is obviously the one who does the photography, but your end is like I said, the kind of, I guess, the business development side of the business. How is that working in a husband and wife in the same business? How does that work?
Oh yeah, well, you know, it's got its challenges. But we are very different, so it's all about kind of playing to our strengths and doing what we're really good at. And then why would you set up a business if you didn't really do it for what you love?
Yep.
And so the point is like Daniel loves having the clients and working with them and being creative and helping them find a solution. But what he really doesn't enjoy is that initial contact, whereas I love it and I thrive on it, and that's why I'm on the video.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely.
You know, so it's all about sparking that initial relationship, and then when we get going, you know, we're asking questions, we're getting to know our clients, and then we're building relationships with them.
Brilliant.
As a team, that is.
Fantastic. So obviously where we are now, we're in the first couple of days of May, and there's obviously we're in a very different world to what any of us have experienced before. We're all in lockdown. I guess for a business like yours, which is very much reliant on being present, it's been quite greatly impacted by what's gone on.
Yeah. I mean, from that point of view, it's quite difficult because the minute lockdown came, we couldn't. You know, Daniel couldn't go and do any jobs. So we've not been able to physically go and complete any projects or work with any clients. But you know, because it is such a unique situation, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's given us time to kind of step back, have a think about what we're doing, and just look after our existing customers that we've worked with in the past couple of years, and just, you know, check in on them, show them that we care, and like, you know, we're just kind of waiting really for us to be able to go out and Daniel to be able to continue the work. So just trying to stay present on social media and keep in touch, really.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the potential things for yourself is that when various restrictions start to ease, I guess one of the positives about what you do is, yes, you have to be present, but you don't actually have to be that close to the people you work with.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It's not like in a bar or a restaurant or things like that where you have to physically, virtually, or hairdressers or people like that. You know, you can be comfortably 2 meters away from people.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully Dan doesn't have to wear a mask, but if he does, it's not the end of the world. But obviously the client can't wear one, it won't look too good.
No, well, yeah, good point. Now we've kind of touched on it a bit. One of the big things in marketing at the moment is personal branding or personal image for people. Now, I would imagine there's something that, as part of what people are thinking about right now, it is a big thing, that thinking, how do I enhance my image from a personal branding point of view? So how do you see photography fitting with all that?
Well, it's massively important because, you know, as photographers, we help to get the most out of your personal brand and represent it in the most professional way. So it's creating that great first impression, so that from just kind of a really good headshot on LinkedIn through to the very best looking images for your website, so that you're attracting clients that want to speak to you, because they've only got a couple of seconds, haven't they? You've got about 2 seconds, probably not even, to gauge someone's interest on your website or on anything really, because people have a short attention span. So if it doesn't look the best it possibly can, then you might have missed out on an opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, I guess one question and one comment you probably get quite a lot, and I'll do it here, is we all have these things, which have got quite good cameras in. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably agree there is a place for that within any, whether it's social media. But what would you say to someone if they said essentially, well, I've got a good camera on my phone, why do I need a professional photographer?
Yeah, there's a few things really, because I mean, it's true, the cameras on phones are pretty good, but can you really use it really well? Do you know how to use it? But also there's a whole mindset thing as well of like, if you think it's good enough, then maybe it is good enough. But maybe I'd encourage people to ask close associates, friends, colleagues, clients, if they agree, because it's not about what you think about what you look like, it's how you're perceived by your potential clients. So it's really important that they believe it's really good. And, you know, there are people out there that can operate a phone camera or a camera really well without engaging a professional, but there's plenty of other people that, you know, don't understand lighting, composition, just don't have that innate creativity that for example, we have, or other photographers have. So there's kind of a place for everything, and it just really depends on the person's point of view.
Yeah.
Initial discussions are always really important to understand what the client wants to get out of it and what the results they want to achieve.
Absolutely. The one thing I'd equate to is probably, which is really high profile at the moment, is we've probably seen all sorts of, whether it's on the news or on TV, where people are getting interviewed pretty much like me and you are now, in a living rooms or in a spare room or whatever at home, that I used to being in a lit studio with various sounds and things like that. It doesn't look quite as good. I mean, some of it looks reasonably good. But we are experiencing that now. We're seeing, I said, people we see at 5 o'clock every single day when journalists are based from home asking questions. It's not the same as if they were in the studio in the BBC or Sky or wherever they are. There is a difference between the two, and it's fairly obvious. And I would equate that to the same thing. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, really, Mike. It's so true, because it's not just about capturing that image at the moment. It's what happens afterwards as well. It's not just a simple click and go and can I have my pictures now, please? There's a whole kind of setting up the shots, but also the post-production element of getting the best image out the other end. You know, there is editing involved, and a professional understands how to do that, whereas on your phone you've got a few filters maybe.
And I think it's that at the moment people are accepting and happy with it. You know, you watch something on TV, it's kind of okay that it's somebody's house because we all understand. But I think if we, in maybe 2 or 3 years time, we're not going to be watching TV programs that were produced like that, because it's not what we expect. We expect better quality. And I guess it's the same with photography. It might, in the moment, as a one-off social media post, it might look okay, but on your website as a main profile, it's not going to be quite have the same impact as a professional photo.
Exactly. And it depends on your business as well, and like the impression you're wanting to make and the context of it as well. Because there's a like you say, there's a place for like snapshots, but there's also a very important place for that professional quality image that's really going to tell your business's story and portray your personal brand. Absolutely.
Now, you touched on it earlier that you kind of, when you first started this photography, kind of weddings was the main kind of things you did, but you kind of moved a bit more into kind of business commercial world. Who are your typical clients? What do they look for? What are they asking for?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of business owners that they generally really see the importance of professional photography and really want it, but they just hate having their picture taken. We've got a big portion of people that are like that, and they just want, you know, someone that can put them at ease and deliver them a solution. They kind of know they don't need a set of photographs to represent them and their business, but they want someone to take that problem and deliver them a solution of images that they can then use across websites, social media. So kind of any kind of small business, really, a bit like ours, just not a photography business, you know, HR, social media businesses, digital businesses, any type of business, really.
Yep.
And then there's other businesses such as manufacturing firms that want to bring their process to life, you know. So if they've got, for example, we worked with printers last year that's got a special screen press printing. So to bring that to life so that customers who visit their website can really understand what the process is and what makes them different and stand out from other businesses that are, you know, in a competitive industry. And then we work a lot with professional services, so lawyers, you know, financial services, so people that need to look professional, because whether we like it or not, there's a certain image that needs to be upheld. So they understand the importance of a professional image. I mean, it might not be that they're always in a crisp suit, but they want to look the best they can to give that best impression to their clients. So from a kind of headshot branding point of view, they're the types of clients that we work with. And then we also work from a property and interiors point of view with high-end estate agents, office fit-out companies, and, you know, top-end builders and people like that have completed projects that they want to show at their best, because if you can showcase your project at its best, you're more likely to win more business, and that's ultimately what it's about.
Absolutely. Now, I guess, again, you've kind of touched on it a little bit there, is, as you know, with me, a big thing with me is collaboration. So for you, you know, I guess there is various people that you can, or types of businesses specifically, that you can collaborate with. Is there any kind of, whether it's examples or types of industries that you work with quite a lot?
Yeah, so best examples really are like creative agencies, digital agencies. I mean, a little shout out to Jag Panasar at Expand in Saltaire. We work with him quite closely on photography. So he builds websites, he does SEO. And when he can identify a client that will see the value in photography and wants it, then we work together with him. So makes it a nice slick process, because we can make sure that when we do a photo shoot, we work closely with the web designers so that we have professional shots for every part of the website.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than the website goes live, you've got a lovely set of photographs, but then there's some gaps that have to be filled with stock, because then it doesn't flow nicely. So it's quite important to have to work together well with the web developer, because then you can make sure that the client gets the best possible looking website in the end, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, going back to this kind of idea of the iPhone or whatever phone people are using it, I know you're not the photographer itself in the business, but if people wanted to get started with it, you know, it might be a new business that just want some shots for their social media or a few for the website. You've got any kind of hints and tips that you might have in terms of just getting some decent photography to start with? Because, to get them going, really.
Yeah, well, kind of always think about the lighting of your situation, you know. So if you're in a dim, dingy room with not very nice decor, you're likely not going to get a very nice shot. So, you know, if you can get outdoor shots, that's great, because obviously there's natural light there, and you don't need kind of studio lighting. And then just to think about the composition of the shot, and you know, kind of making sure that it's not just like a massive head in the middle of the shot, and just having to think about, you know, the different thirds of the image to make sure it's laid out nicely.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now, for our last question, Angela, I'm going to share actually a photo that Dan took. So Dan and Angela, when the Northern Affinity launched last year, they were in charge of photography for our launch event. I took some great photos. Now, this is probably my favourite.
Yeah, I like that
one. As you can see, Angela's there showing a post on Instagram to a couple of our other partners, Laura and Steph. It's probably my favourite of all the photos that were taken, so I thought it'd be a good one to show on this. And if anyone does go on the Northern Affinity website, all the images on there, I think are all from that launch event. So
yeah, that's quite a funny one. But I guess that's one of the things that Dan's quite good at, is capturing emotion and a moment, because he's very patient and he doesn't just click and just take tons of pictures. If it's waiting for natural stuff in an event or in a situation to happen, he'll wait and click when the moment's right, and he can see something great's going to happen. And obviously I was telling a great story there, so.
Yeah. So I mean, what I normally do on these videos, and just to finish, is always ask the person to kind of, if people want to talk to you and find out a bit more about you, where they'd go, and I'll still ask that question. But obviously, I guess the advantage of recording it rather than a live is that once I post this video out, I can put the various links to whether it's your website or whatever it may be. So if you want to kind of say, if people want to contact you, what's the best kind of way to do so?
Yeah, well, best ways to contact us, probably, well, we're really present on LinkedIn, both of us. So if you're interested in us and our business, I'd really encourage you to connect with both Daniel and myself and follow our page on LinkedIn. And you can contact us through there, or our contact numbers are on our website. So just give us a call or send us a message, whatever you're most comfortable with, really.
Yeah, and like I said, once I post this video, I'll put the links in with the video recorded. Yes, and also, as I mentioned right at the start, if anyone does have any questions or anything like that, put it on the post that you see, and I'm sure I'll let Angela know if when they're coming up, and between her and Dan, I'm sure they'll be able to answer that.